Arya killed the president, and then killed the secretary general. She stepped up to the highest position in Country K, one step at a time. The reason she did this was because she had a brain tumor. She is as arrogant as her father. She thought she could get rid of the two monsters that threaten the world. She wants to make herself a savior before she dies. She used the deaths of Gaia and Zoe to complete her retirement ceremony, forging her own history. Even if the cost is human lives, she let herself die as a hero. On the surface, it's for the greater good of humanity, but secretly it reveals the selfishness and hypocrisy deep within humankind. After some time, the sky is covered with dark clouds. The oppressive atmosphere makes the city lose its usual hustle and bustle. The military is escorting the president's vehicle speeding on the highway. Inside the car is Arya, who is going to the Congress to persuade the officers and execute all officers who do not obey her under the pretext of the steel virus. Gaia, who disappeared after killing 5 soldiers, is hiding from the rain with Zoe in a cave. Zoe is pondering whether it was right for her to survive because of the soldiers who died for her. I misunderstood Zoe before. She is the over-empathy woman. When she dared to shoot herself in the forehead. The moment she saved all of humanity with her own life. I knew she was truly kind. But Gaia managed to find the survival instinct she had hidden away. At this moment, her heart is extremely conflicted. She has no idea what is right and what is wrong. Gaia asked her to wait here while she went to find food. Zoe, however, pointed a gun at Gaia, not wanting her to kill again because of her. But she understood that a handgun couldn't kill Gaia, so she made the initial choice again. At this point, the three of them formed a stark contrast. An angel willing to sacrifice her own life to save the world. A demon-like individual willing to destroy the world for you. While another is willing to push their own people into the abyss, satisfying their own selfish desires. Gaia sighed in annoyance. Your death will only accelerate my destruction of mankind. But as long as you are alive, humans can survive a little longer. At this moment, Zoe wants to know why Gaia became so indifferent after regaining her memories, and why she shows no human emotions when killing. She wants to know what Gaia experienced before, and why she has such a deep hatred towards humans. This question struck a chord in Gaia's heart. You ask me why I hate humans. The reason is simple. Because I understand humans better than anyone else. I have existed as different species for millions of years. I will view humans from the perspective of different species. I see the ugliness and selfishness of human nature. Humans only care about themselves. But I also see some warmth in humans. Let me uncontrollably like that feeling. And make me feel happy. But every time I get that happiness. But I always end up being betrayed. Zoe really can't understand what the other party is saying. At this point, Gaia decided to fully disclose the experience of reincarnation. Let Zoe experience his actions from a human perspective. Is it right or wrong? I'm not sure how many hours passed. Gaia finally finished telling his story. The dark heavy rain outside seemed to symbolize his mood. Zoe can't believe that Gaia's experience could be so tragic. She also understands that Gaia's experience can no longer be viewed from a human moral standpoint, because it was all caused by humans. After the rain comes sunshine. Zoe, who hasn't closed her eyes for several days in a row, has fallen asleep in the cave. Her consciousness is temporarily controlled by steel. And she says to Gaia, "It seems that my choice to parasitize this woman's body was indeed correct. As long as I am inside her, you won't kill me." At this moment, Gaia's eyes emit a sharp killing intent as a warning to steel. "If you dare to completely erode Zoe's consciousness, I will make you experience the feeling of being better off dead." Unexpectedly, the topic shifts as Steel says, "I heard your reincarnation story. You and I have the same goal. Why don't we join forces to exterminate humanity? After wiping out humanity, I will also leave this woman's body." However, Gaia said, "You are lying." Steel thought he was exposed after all. Is my acting skills really that bad? But Gaia's words just now were to deceive Steel. He saw Steel not speaking, and thought it was really lying. You never intend to leave Zoe's body, do you? This kind of manipulation and betrayal is just like humans.
Steel, you make me feel disgusted.
Gaia's gaze made Steel feel frightened. He quickly stated that he was telling the truth without lying. But Gaia no longer cared about his truthfulness. He didn't mind having an extra helper in eradicating humanity. Gaia confided his reincarnation experience to Zoe. After listening to his story, she seemed to understand Gaia's feelings. However, Gaia had no intention of stopping his thoughts of slaughtering humanity. He even mentioned that he had once deeply loved humans. He had stood on the side of humans before, being loyal to humanity and protecting them. Even at the moment when he was killed by his master, I believe that his master did not do it intentionally. Until this kind of thing happened repeatedly, the cruel act of gouging out my eyes, and being tortured all over. The image of humans in my mind became more and more evil. They used my life to satisfy their twisted psychological desires, making me numb to life. And this is the human sin. Gaia recounted all this. Zoe asked, "But what if we look at it the other way around? Why can't you see the good side of humanity? Your story includes me, Julia, the kind hunter and his elderly mother, and the woman who fought the world for you. What's the difference between you and those humans who hurt you now, Mom? You have also killed many innocent lives. Those innocent deceased people. Perhaps for someone, it could also be everything in this world. But what about Gaia then? The good side you mentioned about human beings. Is it all just for the benefit of their own kind?" His words made Zoe hesitate to speak. She understood that she had no right to accuse Gaia. But she couldn't sit idly by and let Gaia kill again. After that, the two of them didn't speak again.
It's no longer a debate about who is good and who is bad.
We can only look at who is right and who is wrong from different perspectives. Zoe asked, "As long as I am alive, can I help humanity survive for a while?" Gaia nodded affirmatively. "Now Steel is parasitic within me. I have also become the monster in the eyes of humans. Let's run away together. Go to a place where no one can disturb us. A place where no one will die. Let's live shamelessly, just the two of us, living a life like Adam and Eve." Zoe's sudden display of true feelings left Gaia at a loss. He asked Zoe how it seemed like she was confessing to me. Unexpectedly, Zoe is that person. She unknowingly has developed feelings for Gaia. When this was said, Gaia couldn't keep calm anymore. That shy tall boy seems to have returned. He looked at Zoe's face. Gaia's face turned red like a monkey's bottom. Zoe asked, "Are you not willing to be with me?" Shy Gaia hesitated for a while before finally saying, "I'm willing." The night has grown late. Zoe in the cave has already fallen asleep early.
He looked at Zoe's face.
He even imagined a picture of a happy future life with Zoe. However, in real life, humans always push the boundaries recklessly, accelerating the pace of human extinction. Then he muttered to himself, "I like you." Unexpectedly, Steel took over Zoe's consciousness at this moment, asking, "Who do you like?" Gaia lost interest completely, immediately reverting back to her indifferent and aloof state. Steel saw Gaia smile for the first time, which made him very displeased. With a stern expression, he went over to question Gaia. "Are you really going to fall in love and forget our agreement to wipe out humanity?" Seeing Gaia remain silent out of guilt, Steel, using Zoe's body, moved closer and closer. Seeing Zoe getting closer and closer, Gaia uncontrollably swallowed hard. The next second, they kissed. At this moment, Steel's heart didn't know what to think either. Gaia actually kissed Zoe just as she woke up. Worse still, Zoe hasn't fully woken up yet. And now it's Steel controlling her body. As a single-celled, genderless virus, Steel has no idea what mouth-to-mouth contact means for humans. But it feels strange and wonderful. But the next second, Steel grabs Gaia's head. It turns out that Steel suddenly woke up, recalling that he had always wanted to use virus cells to invade Gaia's body. But no matter what, the virus could not invade his body. There is a mysterious force inside him that keeps repelling himself. And now he seems to be able to enter that gate. Steel refused to let such a great opportunity pass him by. Steel uses Zoe's body to taste Gaia's tongue. Then virus is transmitted into his body. I have ordered this body of yours. By then, I will become an invincible existence. Unexpectedly, Gaia suddenly cracks a smile. Steel instantly felt a strong sense of danger. It was so scared that it immediately let go of Gaia's mouth and took a few steps back. It interrogated Gaia about what it had done. So it turns out that Gaia's actions were not to take advantage of Zoe, but to purify the steel cells inside Zoe's body in order to save Zoe. But this method also makes Gaia uncomfortable. His hand has been eroded by the steel cells. Yet the next second, Gaia's self-healing ability purified the virus. Steel, witnessing Gaia's actions, couldn't help but feel afraid. Gaia, however, had one point of confusion. Clearly, if Steel had persisted a little longer, he might have been able to take over Gaia's body. Why did Steel suddenly stop? But Steel's reason was simple. Just born not long ago, he was greedy for life and afraid of death. Any little disturbance made him want to flee. Unlike Gaia, who has an infinite life and has already become numb to the feeling of life. Later, Steel made it clear that Gaia was not worth risking his life to save Zoe, and that Steel had promised to leave the woman's body after annihilating humanity. So when are you going to fulfill our promise? Annihilate humanity. Facing Steel's aggressive approach, Gaia turned a deaf ear to it. Steel did not understand Gaia's intentions. Is it destruction or redemption? Afterwards, Gaia made its position clear. It is destruction. But before that, Zoe's safety must be ensured. By then, it will be the moment to annihilate humanity. Meanwhile, in the Country K Congress, the room was filled with corpses. Only a few officers supported Arya to survive. The deceased officers were executed by Arya under the pretext of the steel virus. Arya used brutal methods to massacre all officers who did not support her, consequently becoming the acting president of Country K and addressing the global news media. Currently affected by the steel virus, there is a zombie herd. 2,500 people have died in the country. Soldiers have sacrificed 130,000 personnel. The main culprit behind all of this is a duo of existences that modern science cannot explain or define, and they are formidable enough to threaten the world. One of them is the host Zoe of the steel virus. One of them is Monster Gaia, who possesses unknown power. Arya emphasized hoarsely. For the whole world. She called on major countries to come together to support Country K. Also, she assured the people of Country K in the capacity of acting president. She pledged that she would do whatever it takes to eliminate the two threats to the world, while Gaia now carries the unconscious Zoe to find a safe haven that can protect her. Being born as a human in this life feels very strange to him. For billions of years in the past, he had been living aimlessly, without any desire to struggle or to survive. But in this life, he is different. There is some kind of desire driving him forward. What is that desire? Gaia herself doesn't know, but he is starting to look forward to it more and more. The man just kissed the woman. He then took her to a deserted island to live a shameless life. Zoe asked Gaia where this is. But Gaia herself doesn't know where this is. In Zoe's confused expression, Gaia drew a map on the sandy ground. She pointed to a spot and said, "We are here." Zoe looked astonished. She never expected Gaia had brought them into the territorial waters of the hostile country, Country N, within Country K. Meanwhile in Country K, Arya has already completed her dictatorship. Countless citizens outside the presidential palace are shouting against Arya's military dictatorship. And inside the presidential palace, staff members are reporting to Arya that 7 months have passed. We have not located the whereabouts or any information about Gaia and Zoe. He wanted to say something more, but was angrily slammed on the table and scolded by Arya. "You bunch of worthless people!" The staff continued to report. Now Country A has issued a statement. The first case of the steel zombie herd epidemic occurred in Country K. They then requested that Country K take all responsibility for the Steel zombie herd epidemic and compensate Country A for the economic losses caused by the zombie herd epidemic. Such actions are in line with Country A's Arya facing opposition from the public just after taking office. She will also have to face international issues. A series of unfavorable factors are making it difficult for her to catch her breath. And on the uninhabited island over there, the situation is also not optimistic. I only heard Zoe's mournful wails echoing through the sky. It's too tight there. Gaia, don't be so forceful. No way. Gaia, you can't suppress the beast within you so quickly. It turns out Zoe is complaining about Gaia's clumsiness. She can't even install a hammock. I asked you to use a little force, not to use brute force to directly break the rope. I really don't understand how you have survived until now. You have no self-care skills at all. You only know how to steal and kill. Facing Zoe's series of outputs, Gaia kept a straight face and didn't want to listen. Zoe sighed and scolded herself. I really regret agreeing to live on this uninhabited island with you. Gaia was particularly speechless at this moment. Clearly, it was you who suggested living on this uninhabited island in the first place. Zoe scolded Gaia for standing there stupidly instead of coming over to help. Gaia's eyes instantly emitted waves of blue light. He clenched his teeth. The rope ended up getting tangled and stuck on his hand. Zoe was completely speechless. An hour later, the two of them finally set up the hammock. Zoe lay down comfortably all of a sudden. She sighed that it would be nice to have a beer now. Gaia said he would go get it, but Zoe stopped him. Are you thinking of stealing again? And what are you stealing that heap of household appliances for? Where is there electricity around here? I can understand if that's your gift to me. But beer is no big deal. Remind Gaia not to kill, and to go quickly, and come back quickly. Gaia then transformed into an intercontinental missile and flew to steal the beer. At night, the two of them enjoyed beer by the bonfire, savoring the sea breeze blowing in their faces and sharing their stories. Late at night, the two of them slept in separate beds. After Zoe fell asleep, Steele began to wake up. He wondered what the situation was now. Although he had saved his own life because of this woman, it was also because of this woman that he and Gaia had delayed the plan to destroy humanity. Steele is secretly planning a conspiracy. He intends to use his virus to infect all humans in the world. He plans to use his manipulation ability to control the minds of people worldwide. At that time, it will trigger a world war, leading humanity to self-destruct and self-slaughter. However, Zoe woke up at this moment. She knows exactly what Steele is thinking. Steele was instantly taken aback. The next second, Zoe covered her eyes infected by Steele. You single-celled virus parasite, leave me alone. Steele was completely shocked by how this woman could suppress his consciousness. There is a virus original entity Steele inside the woman's body that can control creature awareness. It wants to use its manipulation ability to control the human carriers of the virus and trigger a world war. It wants humanity to self-destruct in a bloody conflict. But the next second, Zoe suppressed Steele's consciousness. Steele couldn't believe it. The woman's body was gradually adapting to his virus cells. Steele resisted desperately, trying to take control of the body but failed. Zoe calmly said, "This body is mine. You parasitic creature, continue to sleep for me. If you dare to mess with me again, I will commit suicide and we will die together." Steele knew that this crazy woman would really do what she said. Fearful of death, Steele was completely helpless. At this time, the intelligence department in Country K deployed several radar satellites. They searched continuously for 2 nights in a row. They still couldn't find the 2 existences that could threaten the world, which made all the staff extremely frustrated. The officer is very distressed. The leader ordered his subordinates to continue searching. He himself went to report to Arya and faced the scolding. But in the next moment, a red light shone from the eyes of the subordinate. It turned out that his consciousness had been controlled by Steele's virus. What's even more surprising is that it was Zoe, not Steele, who is controlling the person's consciousness. She has gradually mastered Steel's manipulation ability and infiltrated global intelligence agencies. She concealed her and Gaia's whereabouts. Not only that, she marveled at Steel's incredible abilities. She can feel that people infected by the virus have spread to every corner of the world, forming a vast neural network. She can clearly sense the interconnectedness between herself and the world. As long as she continues to let this virus expand, maybe she will truly become an existence like Steel described, akin to a god. No one will be able to hurt Gaia's heart anymore. I will be the one to protect her in the future. Steel has now become Zoe's tool. Right now, in Prison 15 of Country Inn, a guard had his throat cleanly slit. He died without any struggle. The warden calmly remarked upon seeing the scene. "Looks like that guy has escaped." Meanwhile, outside the prison, a 17-year-old girl named Sabrina is running desperately. Although she is young, she was trained as a top assassin by Country Inn. And the one who just killed the guard was indeed Sabrina. She fled to a village and met her uncle. The uncle was very curious about how Sabrina ended up here. But Sabrina asked, "Where is my mother?" Sabrina found out that her mother had an accident, and that's why she escaped. Her uncle remained silent, eyes filled with sadness. After that, he took her to the riverbank. Sabrina knelt on the ground, trembling and crying. After her mother passed away, there wasn't even a grave. She asked her uncle if her mother was in pain before she died. The uncle said that her mother passed away very peacefully, like falling asleep. Scattering the ashes into the river was her mother's own wish. Sabrina felt relieved after hearing this. Her uncle asked her about her future plans, whether she intended to turn herself in. Sabrina revealed that she had already killed 3 guards before coming here. "If I go back, I will only be executed by firing squad. I'm not just a defector now, but also a defector who committed murder. I can only escape to a place without humans to live now." Uncle sighed deeply after hearing it. He reminded Sabrina to be careful on the way. In the evening, Gaia and Zoe enjoyed eating grilled fish comfortably. After swimming in the water all day, Sabrina finally arrived at this uninhabited island. She stared dumbfounded at the scene before her. She wondered why there was a couple here, still eating grilled fish. And Zoe also looked confused as to why there was a child appearing in the water. Could it be that it's a daughter sent to us by the heavens? Sabrina, in order not to reveal her whereabouts, thought it's lucky that there are only 2 of them. She took out a dagger and intended to kill Gaia and Zoe. "I'm sorry, both of you. You must die today. Blame your bad luck." Gaia and Zoe were both very puzzled. The 17-year-old girl is a top-level assassin agent. She is proficient in various assassination techniques. To cover her tracks, she plans to kill the young couple in front of her. Little did she know that she herself had encountered trouble today. In front of her was Zoe, a steel host who could control all living things. The other one is Gaia Sabrina, the incarnation of the Earth consciousness possessing the force of nature. Before taking action, she did not forget to taunt her opponent by turning the dagger in her hand like holding a knife. Zoe was completely confused at this point. She was about to ask her what she was doing. Sabrina rushed up at a very fast speed. The dagger was about to strike Zoe. Confused Gaia pulled her back. Faced with Gaia Sabrina suddenly appearing in front of her, she was so scared that she kept stepping back. Zoe questioned her what was going on. "I originally wanted you all to die in peace, but you startled me." As soon as she finished speaking, Sabrina rushed forward again. Gaia asked Zoe to step back. Zoe reminded Gaia to hold back and not kill her. After all, she is just a child. Sabrina yelled, "Come and face your death." The next moment, she was struck by Gaia. Such a young age, and already resorting to violence. "Whom do you want to kill?" Sabrina crazily stabbed Gaia's arm several times. She kicked Gaia in the abdomen, borrowing force to quickly step back. At this moment, she was completely dumbfounded. She clearly stabbed him multiple times, So why weren't his arms injured? What is going on with this man? At this point, Sabrina felt that the man in front of her was quite impressive. Zoe stopped both of them from fighting. Is there any misunderstanding? Sabrina originally thought they were just an ordinary couple. But from the man's skills, she felt that they must be spies from Country K. The two of them were immediately speechless when this was said. Sabrina rushed forward with a knife once again. Gaia sighed deeply. She thought she was stupid enough, but she didn't expect there were even more foolish people than herself. He then leisurely walked towards Sabrina. But Sabrina easily stepped around and stood behind Gaia. Gaia was suddenly startled. She had been practicing this turning movement for at least 2.5 years. Sabrina shouted loudly, demanding Gaia not to move. She threatened Gaia that if she dared to take a step forward, her life would be in danger. At this moment, Gaia's eyes returned to their usual lifeless and indifferent state. He asked Zoe, "Do I still need to endure not killing in this situation now?" Gaia's breath made Sabrina feel a strong fear of death. At the same time, Zoe cut Sabrina's arm, allowing Steel's virus cells to invade her body. When Sabrina felt a sharp pain, it was already too late. Her hand involuntarily released Zoe's neck. Her eyes became dull and lifeless. Sabrina found herself unable to control her own body, while Zoe reprimanded her to be polite. "You should call me sister. Do you understand?" Sabrina looked at the two people in horror. She didn't understand what was going on with them. It was like a 17-year-old girl named Monster was courting death, holding a knife to a woman's life to threaten the boy not to move. This action completely angered Gaia. "You have successfully enraged me. You are seeking death." But before Gaia could do anything, Zoe had subdued her. Zoe controlled her consciousness and made her obediently kneel down. She then turned her head and rebuked Gaia. "You wouldn't really want to kill her, would you? She's just a child. We can't be this ruthless." Faced with Zoe's preaching, Gaia looked impatient and unwilling to listen. Sabrina was kneeling dumbly on the side, looking at the two of them. Her eyes were full of fear, completely unaware of why she couldn't control her body. She weakly asked, "What have you done to me?" As soon as these words were spoken, they remembered there was still another person. The two of them looked at her. It turns out that Zoe had just cut her arm, allowing the steel virus to invade her body and control her. Zoe didn't want to kill her, but couldn't bear to drive her away. Are they going to live together as three from now on? As soon as Gaia heard this, she was shocked. She expressed her disagreement. "Didn't we agree to live without any embarrassment or reservation?" When Zoe asked what to do, unexpectedly, Sabrina shouted, "Just kill me! I will never surrender or beg for mercy." This statement instantly silenced the air once again. The three stared at each other wide-eyed. Gaia was the first to break the deadlock, expressing agreement with her idea to kill her. However, Zoe told him to shut up directly. Looking at Sabrina controlled by herself, Zoe sighed that Steel's ability is really useful. She then took a deep breath. She said to Sabrina, "You are very brave. I can just snap my fingers lightly to kill you." "So have you made up your mind?" However, Sabrina remains unyielding and refuses to submit to death. Zoe said that when she counts down from 3, she will kill the other party. But just as Zoe was about to start counting down, Sabrina immediately begged for mercy. "Please don't kill me. I'll do whatever you want." Zoe listened to her response. Zoe smiled with relief. Sabrina stared blankly at the woman, feeling her overwhelming kindness. She warmed herself as if she were an angel. Gaia, on the other hand, looked impatient. "What? I thought you were really brave. Turns out you're a coward." And inside prison N15 of Country Inn, the guard reported to the warden. The Sabrina escape case will be taken over by the National Intelligence Agency's Security Department. The warden is curious about what Sabrina did to attract the attention of the security department. And the three people on the uninhabited island resolved their misunderstandings. Sabrina told the other two her story, because she was locked up for making some mistakes. Afterward, she escaped from prison. However, she encountered the two monsters, and Zoe immediately asked her what mistake she had made to be imprisoned as a minor. At this point, Sabrina confessed that she was a teenage assassin from Country Inn. It turned out that during one mission, she was supposed to escort a geologist. Immediately, Sabrina mentioned a series of years. Gaia looked confused, but Zoe, being a researcher, felt a chill down her spine upon hearing the years mentioned. That was a volcanic eruption timeline. Sabrina also leaked the year the volcano was about to erupt. She ended up in prison. And at this time, inside Country K's intelligence department. The people who have not been infected by the steel virus have finally been located using satellites. The positions of the two monsters that could threaten the world were found. The staff shouted that they were on an uninhabited island in the waters of Country Inn. 1 hour later, inside the military headquarters of Country Inn, an old commander was watching a video of Gaia slaughtering humans. He couldn't believe that such a monster exists in the world. Arya is video calling with him. She explains that the two monsters threatening the world are in your waters. However, the old guy completely doesn't believe the content of the video. Arya asks him why he doesn't trust himself. Just because you staged a coup and took the position of the president, aren't you trying to fabricate a common enemy for humanity to change everyone's focus? This statement instantly leaves Arya speechless and prompts the old guy to pay attention to his words. But the old guy doesn't give her any face at all. He continues, since that monster and the origin of the zombie herd virus are both on the island in our waters, your Country K has to compensate for the losses of our Country Inn. Upon hearing this, Arya was stunned. The old guy asked her what was so surprising. If what you say is true, our Country Inn has also been affected by the zombie herd virus and caused chaos. Shouldn't you compensate us for wanting to use our hands to get rid of that monster? However, Arya changed the subject. As long as you open up the waters of Country Inn, you don't need to lend us a hand. My army will take care of those two monsters. Old guy exclaimed loudly that it's absurd. How could we allow soldiers from a hostile country to enter our own territory? We might as well declare war directly. Arya was just about to say something when the old guy ended the video call, and she explained how amazing the special effects in video calls are now. They look so real. He believed that Gaia and Zoe were just spies for Country K. He even ordered his subordinates to send out the 649 assassination unit to kill the 3 people on the island. The old guy was unaware that his decision accelerated the pace of human extinction. 1 day passed. Sabrina said she had nowhere else to go, and if she was captured and taken back by them, she would definitely be executed by firing squad. She remembered her mother's words. No matter what, you must stay alive. Gaia, who heard these words. He also recalled his mother, Wendy, saying these same words. Gaia can feel Sabrina's emotions at this moment. He felt compassion for her. When Sabrina cried and longed for her mother, Gaia sensed that something was coming from the sea. He put his hand into the water. He derived the ability of dolphins to investigate the situation using sound waves. Gaia can feel them approaching step by step. A total of 48 people fully armed are rushing here. Sabrina thought at first that the people coming were here to capture her and take her back. She shouted that she was as good as dead. The people coming to capture her must be assassins. Gaia told her to quiet down and that she would protect her. Sabrina knew that Gaia was very strong, but she couldn't resist the enemy's overwhelming numbers. You have no idea how strong I am, she said. At this moment, Sabrina thought to herself, this guy really doesn't know his own limitations. Gaia said coldly, as long as I'm in this world, no one can kill you on this island. You must fulfill your mother's words. Stay alive. A deserted island without a name before. 7 months later, in front of the whole world, that island was named Blood Island.